Joining me now live from Beijing with more on the DPRK's nuclear program and the efforts to restart six-party talks is Jia Xiudong. He's a senior research fellow at the China Institute of International Studies. We want to welcome you to the broadcast. You just heard what Mr. Walsh had to say. What are your thoughts on things as they progress? China has been very persuasive in trying to push these things forward, and yet they seem to be stalled.
Yes, China is engaging in a flurry of diplomacy, shadow diplomacy, by Mr. Wu Dawei, the chief negotiator for the six-party talks, traveling to the capitals of several of the parties, including now he's in Pyongyang, and he just returned from Washington, D.C., and he visited Seoul. And actually, we'll see more diplomacy, shadow diplomacy, and actually Vice President of U.S. Biden is coming to Beijing, and this region, Japan and South Korea, early December. So China is engaging in this very active diplomacy to try to resume the six-party talks. Actually, I think that China is offering some specific plan for the resumption.
Professor Jia, some people say that China is the single most important mediator. When you take all the six parties together, China plays the pivotal role because it can actually be the go-between between the DPRK and the United States. Would you agree with that?
Well, certainly China wants to see a peaceful and stable Korean Peninsula, and actually North Korea would like to see resumed process of talk with the United States, South Korea, and we will not see resumed economic cooperation. And also, for the ultimate goal is a kind of negotiated establishment of diplomatic relations with the U.S. And for U.S. and Korea, they would like to South Korea would like to see a denuclearized North Korea. So actually, we share this kind of same goal of peace and stability in the region. But the question is how we can achieve that. And it seems that we should do it step by step. So China is doing that.
We've seen some regional disputes, though. You know, the Diaoyu Islands. Of course, South Korea also has its issues with Japan. All three of these parties are going to be sitting there at the table. Is that going to cause any rifts, do you think? Will that be a hesitant or a problem with these talks?
I think now actually it's a separate issue. I mean, the nuclear issue on the Korean Peninsula is quite different from the territorial dispute. So for China, at least at this moment, the dispute over these islands with Japan is not actually standing in the way of the China's efforts to push for progress in the resumption of the six-party talks, and actually they will contribute to peace and stability in the region. Of course, China would like to see also dialogue with Japan over the disputed islands.
You know, it was about a year ago, a little over a year ago, that Glenn Davies actually sat down with his counterpart from the DPRK. They kind of, as he said, pushed the football back and forth, and he wasn't quite sure whose ball the court was in at the time, and he said he wasn't sure if there's going to be a short process or a long one. What's your take? It's more than a year later. It seems like things are just kind of dragging on. How long a process do you think this is going to be?
The process has never been easy. It has made progress in the past, has stalled, and there are difficulties, and we see actually both the DPRK and the United States were to blame for some of the failure of the six-party talks, but still we have seen progress in the past in the six-party talks, and given the deep-seated strategic distrust between the DPRK and the U.S., we will not see an easy process leading to the restart of the six-party talks. But that's why China is calling for active diplomacy, and also for the party to sit down first. And you don't make too much call for preconditions for the resumption of the six parties. So that's kind of chicken egg. That will be a kind of chicken egg dilemma for the party for the resumption of the six-party talks if all the parties are doing that.
Jia Xiudong joining us from Beijing with his insights. Thanks so much.